Hello, everybody. Rice here. Welcome to the Weekly Grain. I know it's been over 7 months since I last uploaded on the main channel, and I'm sorry about that, but there's been a lot of serious stuff on my mind that's kept me distracted from editing. And honestly, those are distractions. Hey guys, Rice here. Welcome to the Weekly Grain. I know it's been over 7 months since I last uploaded on the main channel, and I'm sorry about that. There's just been a lot of serious stuff on my mind that's kept me distracted from editing. And honestly, those distractions are the only reason I created this channel. And I'm hoping that by making these videos, I'll be able to divert from those distractions and let go of them with each video. And the first topic I wanted to talk about is religion, specifically the Catholic Church, and why I'm no longer a part of it. Now, I could go down a whole rabbit hole talking about the story of Job and all of that kind of stuff, but I'm going to keep it simple and I'm just going to tell you exactly why I do not believe anymore. So, like most members of the church, I was raised Catholic by parents who, to my knowledge, never studied the Bible or faith thoroughly. And it wasn't until I got to high school that I really started questioning whether I believed any of it. And eventually I came to the conclusion that I wasn't Catholic. So I guess the next question is, why did I stop believing? There are a lot of reasons why I stopped believing, but the main one is the very thing the church is founded on: faith and belief. The message throughout the Bible is that if we believe in God and worship Him, then we will have eternal life. And John 3:16, the most famous Bible verse, says exactly that. But is belief something you can control? Imagine someone standing on solid ground, trying to convince themselves they're floating in air. They can say it out loud, repeat it in their head, and even want it to be true. But deep down, they still know their feet are on the floor. You can pretend to believe something, but you can't force genuine belief into existence. In the same way, you can't simply choose to believe in God just because someone tells you to. Real belief comes from being genuinely convinced, and if that conviction isn't there, no amount of forcing it will suddenly make it real. This brings me to my next topic: free will. One of God's greatest gifts to mankind, right alongside life itself. But is it even real? Or are our actions determined by our environment, our experiences, and the chemical processes in our brains, rather than fully independent choices? We're told that humans misuse the gift just as Adam and Eve did, and just as Satan and the fallen angels did. We choose sin time and time again, even though we know what we're doing is wrong. But our situation is actually nothing like theirs. Adam and Eve didn't have to convince themselves of something they couldn't perceive the way someone might try to convince themselves they're flying while standing on solid ground. They personally knew God. They knew He created them, spoke to Him, and knew that they loved Him, and knew that He loved them, and still chose to disobey Him. Or did they really choose at all? If God is all knowing, then He already knew they would betray Him before He ever created them. Not only that, but He also created the very circumstances and influences that led to that decision. And if God is all knowing, then He also knows that given the circumstance He has placed me in, I have no way of convincing myself of His existence, and yet under the same framework, He would still allow me at the time of my death to descend into hell. If I were to end up in hell for something I cannot choose, then it raises a serious question about whether the God described in the Bible can truly be considered loving. I did not choose to be created. I did not choose the conditions I was born into. And I do not choose what I am convinced of or what I believe to be true. From this perspective, belief itself is not a decision, but a result of factors I do not control. Yet it is treated as the deciding factor for an internal outcome. When faith is viewed this way, it becomes difficult to ignore the role fear plays in it. For many people, belief in God is not rooted in certainty or direct understanding, but in the fear of death and the possibility of punishment after it. That seems counterintuitive to the idea of a loving relationship between God and humanity. If love is the goal, then it is hard to reconcile why it would be tied to something so high stakes and uncertain. It also raises a difficult question. Why would I be expected to love a being who gives me a limited, unknown amount of time to become convinced of something that determines my eternal fate, especially when that conviction itself may not be something I can choose? I also want to be clear that I respect religious people. I may be talking about it in a negative light. I am simply explaining why I'm no longer Catholic and why I kind of think the faith is very flawed. I have a Catholic girlfriend. I love her. I like Catholic people. They're cool. But I just wanted to get this out of the way because people are always asking me why I'm not religious, and I never really have an answer because I'm never really ready to answer it in the middle of high school classes. Um, yeah, I just can't find myself convinced in the same way as my friends. If belief were something I could choose, I don't think I'd hesitate, but it doesn't feel like a choice, and I don't find the arguments or evidence convincing enough for me personally. Thank you for watching. I plan to post more on this channel, and the reason I posted this. Okay, I already said that. But yeah, if I'm misunderstanding anything, or I'm like, you can't, I don't want to hear from people responding to this that God works in mysterious ways, because that makes no sense to me, and God has decided how my brain works, so I don't fucking know. Um, yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I guess if you're still watching, probably not. Thanks. Bye.